Yeah. साकी शान देखो मान सम्मान देखो पंजाबी मुंडे जिबे खड़ी है चट्टान देखो साडी पहचान देखो जंग दा मैदान देखो वो के समय बैरी किन्ने ने हैरान देखो
And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. My name is EJ. Alongside with me is D-Ship. And we are back. Yeah, we take a little break. Well, due to personal reasons, we took some time off. But here we are. We're back into it, talking Raw, SmackDown, NXT. And one thing I want to say, I really do miss doing this. And dealing with you on a weekly basis. And I'm sure it's vice versa, too. I don't want to make it seem like it's a one-sided. But overall, I mean, a lot has changed with the product since the last time we did a show about a couple months ago. And main thing is, before we get into what we want to discuss, I mean, we didn't get a chance to discuss the fact that Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff are now part of the production, and they have some say with the creative in the Raw and SmackDown. Real quick before we get into the, discussing the top 10. What are your thoughts on that? Like Paul Heyman and Bischoff being named, what was it, executive producers?
Yeah, something
executive
like
producer. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
The Heyman one makes sense because he's been doing a little bit of stuff like that for a little while now, anyway.
Yeah.
And most importantly, it just ever since that first show that he was technically in charge of, Brock Lesnar's been around more. Could it be a coincidence? I don't think so. I mean, if Heyman wasn't in this role, could we be seeing Brock Lesnar in the form that we are right now? And I don't think so. So I think, to finally, not necessarily get Brock over with the crowd, but just to have the world champ around, you don't hear anybody bitching and moaning about Brock Lesnar no more because he's around more.
No, you don't, and that's I like that.
That was the main thing you got out of this. That's a W right out the bat. Not to mention, Paul Heyman is probably the best wrestling guy as far as storylines that's ever been. So to have that combination of fortunes together is truly amazing. As far as Bischoff's concerned, really haven't seen too much. Like you can't feel his impact like you can with Heyman. So it remains to see if he's just a name that's attached and he's not really as involved as Heyman is on Raw. So I guess we got to wait to see how some of these storylines, manifest here on SmackDown. But so far lately, the storylines on SmackDown especially have been abysmal. So I don't know if that means Bischoff's ideas suck or he just doesn't have the input that we all wish he had. So I think SmackDown is a little up in the air, and there's a lot going on, a lot to be worried, but still excited about with Fox coming up and everything. So I'm hoping we can, kind of get them Heyman type storylines on SmackDown also soon.
Yeah. With Bischoff, I feel bad for him in a way when it comes to Raw because a lot of storylines from Raw are coming over, and like you said, it remains to be seen of what kind of direction or like control he has. But I think once they get to Fox, you're going to have two separate entities. They're going to figure it out. But one thing's for sure, I think at this point, if it was made, you would have one world champion that would go both brands because having someone like Brock Lesnar, I think the ultimate thing is having a world title unification match on that first episode of SmackDown.
But I think they're going to go that route because the rumor has it that they're going to go more back to the traditional brand split when that happens. So
I hope they. If that's it,
if you do go back to that, you're not going to have just one champion. I think this is all just to get SmackDown up there ratings wise right now, just to keep the energy going, and then when they're on Fox, they're gonna start to separate themselves into their own thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, let's speak. We got someone in chat, the jobber in the chat, Edwin Jones, says reports say that Bischoff isn't going to deal with creative that much. Mostly he'll be dealing with the business for Fox. Yeah, the guy has a background for that, but no, he did say in the one podcast he's going to have dealings with some creative. Not as much as Heyman has for Raw, but he will have some, not full creative control. He has some creative control. He's not saying he has none. He has some. But that remains to be seen. But
he ain't going to be writing individual storylines, but people are going to present him with storylines, and he's going to kind of pick, is the vibe I get. He's going to be the decision maker of how to best represent them business-wise on Fox, and that pretty much means essentially putting the best product out there. So he'll have a bunch of minions, and the minions will report to him, and he'll decide what they put out, more or less.
All right. Well, what's that? Oh, you're good.
I said I hope.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see where it goes from there. Now, for people that are watching this live, and I don't think it cares for the people listening later on the podcast, but you're going to see D Shep and not me, so you're not going to see my ugly face to scare you off. There was a technical issue, so that's why you're only seeing him and not the both of us. With that, let's go right into it. Let's go with number 10.
Number 10.
Well, remember last week when I'm sure people that watched it, we didn't get a chance to discuss it, but the 24/7 championship, and when Maria Kanellis won the title, and she mentioned OGBYN appointment, I knew right away where they were going with that. And how they were going to do it, I got to admit, I thought it was really funny of how they did it. So let's tell the scenario real quick and we'll get our opinions on it. Maria Kanellis was at her OBGYN appointment. During the appointment, the doctor was revealed it was a referee, and Mike Kanellis pinned his wife to become the new 24/7 champion. As he goes out into the waiting room, he was then attacked by and pinned by the disguising R-Truth, and there you have it, just like that. Where moments ago, Mike Kanellis said he would not let his wife down, he did it again. But to me, I thought it was a funny segment. That's what this was meant to be. Not to be taken seriously, but overall, it entertained the crap out of me. What'd you think of it?
Anything with I don't think you can do wrong with the 24/7 title. It is so above and beyond over than we ever thought it probably would be. And this was just, another classic case of, man, you can't do wrong with this title. Like, it's very simple. You cannot fuck this title up, basically. I was a little surprised the way Mike pinned her, and then when they
why is that?
Well, no, because I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting R-Truth to be in disguise.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Like, I didn't see that part of it, so it did take me by a little bit of surprise. I did expect Mike to pin her at some point, but I was surprised where it happened. But it was a good thing. And they go out to the waiting room, and you got Carmella dressed up as a dude and R-Truth dressed up as a chick. It's just money. This whole title is just money, and I think it is kind of cool that they had a pregnant chick win the title. and the way she taunted the boys after she won the title. That shit was like no one saw that coming. Really, you cannot predict what you're gonna see with this title, and that's probably what makes this title. It has to be right now one of the top 3 titles in the company right now, just because of how over it is. And
Mm-hmm.
this was awesome. I've always loved Maria. I thought she's been amazing. This new monster bitch of a wife persona she's doing is amazing. They're finally doing something with Mike Bennett, which, goddamn, finally. Even if this is a little corny from his point of view, he's pretty much knocking it out of the park and showing a different side to him that I don't think a lot of us knew he had. We were always so focused on his in-ring talent that, we never paid attention to his personality all that much. He hasn't been given that platform yet. And it's been amazing, man. Nothing but thumbs up for me on this one.
And you know what? I agree with you with doing something with Mike Bennett or anyone that's been left in the back burner, pretty much just rotting away, not using them. This is an opportunity to maybe bring out a personality in all of these characters or any superstar that they're putting, into these segments. And it's funny because the first thing I thought of, D-Shep, was the fact that you've seen these outrageous storylines happening. It's very reminiscent to the Attitude Era. So people that say, "Oh, I wish it could be more like Attitude Era." If you watch some of the segments, like when what's her name gave birth to a hand, Mae Young gave birth to a hand. Mark Henry was the father. Those outrageous storylines. You're starting to see it within his 24/7 division, 24/7 title segments, and that's what I love about it.
To your point, what you're saying, did you notice what they rated SummerSlam as? TV 14.
Yeah, I saw that too. Scottish Passion, thank you for the follow on Mixer.
It's just you can tell this is Heyman in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Heyman took what was a product storyline wise that was just petering off, and he's sprinkling in some of the Attitude Era stuff without going over the top with it.
Yeah,
he's been phenomenal.
And Get 'em Jones in chat said it was voted the most popular title last month, and yes, I saw that too. And well, come on, how can you not be entertained about what that? Because this is a thing that's being shown on every show. I mean, you got the WWE title that's mainly shown on SmackDown, U.S. title, mainly shown on Raw, IC title mainly on SmackDown. This one is going on both brands, and I wouldn't be surprised in the future if you see that on NXT or 205 Live. It wouldn't surprise me at all if you see that.
You're going to get the name to hold this title eventually too.
Yeah,
this just screams Braun Strowman eventually.
Oh, that I would like to see, especially with the segment a week before with Maria Kanellis and him. Yep.
And he got the comedic side Braun Strowman does, like all that shit he used to do with that big-ass guitar that one time, or violin, whatever. He can deliver the comedic side of this title, too. He can pull it off any which way. I see him with the title eventually.
Yeah, he's multidimensional. That's one thing I could say about it. I love watching Strowman. It kills me that they killed him off for a little bit, but you've seen that rise of him again. All right, well, now that we're done with that, we got a new 24/7 champion. We're done with number 10. Let's go with number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9, Wild vs. Thorne. And I don't know if you call it this match. It was the only match on NXT this past week on TV. If you don't count the attack from Killer Dane on Matt Riddle. This was a pretty good match. It went about 20 minutes. Wild trying to get his first win in NXT, and it was a great back-and-forth match. But Wild failed to get his first TV victory on NXT when Thorne scores the pinfall after landing a running knee, a devastating running knee if you saw that. And yes, I know it's DJZ, Get 'em Jones, but we have to go with their NXT names. So, did you catch the match? And what did you think of it?
I didn't catch the match, but I did see the flying knee at the end, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Because I seen the highlights, and I seen that, and I was like, that got my attention. Other than that, I don't know too much about this match. I honestly don't. been hard to keep up with everything lately. But I did catch Takeover last night, and these guys weren't on
Well,
Takeover.
I don't want to. Yeah, no spoilers, please, because I'll be catching that later on myself, along with SummerSlam.
Annie, but you made it awkward.
What's that?
I said you made it awkward because I wasn't going to say anything.
All right, good. Well, yeah, all right.
No, so I did see the end of it there, but beyond that, I didn't see much of it, so I can't really comment. I am familiar with DJ Z because he was in TNA for a while, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am a little more familiar with him.
Yeah.
But they got the look. I'll tell you that, and I'm familiar with Z. The other guy got the look, so I'm curious. I look forward to seeing these guys some more to get more familiar with them, though.
And well, that was a brilliant thing that they did with this tournament was to reintroduce her. It's all repackaged guys with new names, and they did a tournament like a G1 style, and it was perfect timing going along with the G1. So I actually enjoyed the tournament, and these were the two that participated in it. And I'll tell you, Wild, you're going to see a lot with him. Even though he hasn't won a match yet, but I see a lot with him. Shane Thorne, I mean, seeing what happened to him in the past too, but I mean, getting a victory in that match. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this match, and I enjoy what they're doing. It was a unique way to repackage these guys, and they did let it know that this is what they used to be, but this is their new name. I don't know if a lot of people did like that, but to me, I did. Because some people are like, oh, yeah, that's Shane Strickland, but he doesn't go by that. It's Swerve. Oh, fuck, I forgot the name. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to get used to the names. They switched them up, and you got to get used to them. But his name is Swerve something. But overall, it was a really good match. And like I said, it was the only match on NXT this past week because they were hyping up TakeOver. So you had a lot of video packages going into that. So, all right. Now that we're done with number 9, let's go with what we thought was the 8th best thing that happened this week.
Number 8.
Goldberg. Come on, chant it with me. Come on. Oh, come on. Oh, God, you're too fucking old. You don't. Isaiah Swerve Scott. Thank you. Get him, Jones. God damn. Can you just get with it?
I gave myself a concussion before I started chanting. My bad.
Oh, okay. Oh, number 8 this week is the return of Goldberg. It was kind of ruined on internet if you followed the dirt sheets, if you follow Twitter, anything wrestling related on Twitter. It got out there pretty quick, so it wasn't so much of a surprise. But what was the surprise was the pop, and we'll get into that in a second. I'll tell the scenario of what happened on Monday night. Dolph Ziggler came out for Miz TV to face down the Miz and Shawn Michaels once again. After he promised to beat the A-lister and become a legend, Miz announced that he wasn't actually Ziggler's opponent at SummerSlam. Then Ziggler went over to Shawn Michaels, where he had to inform him that it wasn't him either. Instead, it was Goldberg who arrived and set the show off running up the ramp. And to end the show, Michaels gave Ziggler a sweet chin music for good measure. Now, my first question for you was, what did you think of that segment? And the follow-up to that is the thoughts on Goldberg getting his redemption match since that disastrous match with The Undertaker back at Super Showdown.
Well, basically, in a nutshell here, this is, like you said, redemption. This is a silver platter match for Goldberg. I heard the rumor that it was going to be Goldberg coming back, but I'm watching SmackDown and they got me. Because for a split second there, when Miz started looking at Shawn, I thought Shawn was getting the match. I was like, and then he did the whole, well, it's not me, and then started pointing, then it was Goldberg. I'm like, fuck yeah, that makes sense. Basically, Goldberg in a nutshell, he can't fight them big guys anymore. He struggled, the more times he faced Brock Lesnar, it got worse each time. He's just not built for, at his age maybe, and his, active status, he just doesn't, he got the look to match up with these guys, but it can't happen anymore. It just really can't. with everything that he does to get himself psyched up for a match, and then he probably spends more energy, even though he has these short matches, than any other person on the roster by far. He practically gives himself a heart attack every time he goes out there. So about time you get to the point of 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes down the road from when they first show him in the locker room coming out, then you're asking him to lift up a 300-some pound dude for a jackhammer. Bad things are going to happen.
Yep.
That's not going to happen this time, because even if he gave himself a concussion, because you know damn well he's going to bang his head on the door again. He always bangs his head on the door. He's done that for 20 years. He's not going to stop doing that. But even a concussed Goldberg can still jackhammer Ziggler. I mean, that's easy peasy. This is as cream puff of an easy 5-second match that you could ask for, because Ziggler's going to run out there, do his little bad guy, taunting shit, and then Goldberg's just going to whoop his ass real quick. And more or less, this will set up Goldberg, unfortunately, to eventually fight another big guy. Like, I'm leaning towards him and Strowman down the line. I don't know why, gut feeling. But there's no way on God's green earth a completely healthy Goldberg is still jackhammering Strowman. It's just not going to happen. So it's going to be disastrous. Anytime you throw him out there with an Undertaker, Brock, or Strowman, it's just going to be disastrous. Now, if you want to send him, these next couple of years up against guys like Ziggler, Miz, even Shane McMahon, stuff like that, yeah, he'll whoop all them motherfuckers and look good doing it.
You'll probably get them kind of matches.
He just can't go against that dude. So I don't know what you do with Goldberg at this point, because we all know he's going to go out there and whip Ziggler's ass right quick tonight. It's easy peasy. I just don't know where you go from here, because no fan is going to be excited about Goldberg Strowman or Goldberg Kane or Goldberg, these big names, because we know what's going to happen. It's going to look awkward and terrible. So do you keep Goldberg as the monster that he used to be and just have him fight guys like Ziggler? That's probably the best route you can go with this. But as far as this whole segment stuff with Ziggler, the more I've been seeing Shawn lately, I'm hoping for that one last WrestleMania match, and Ziggler would be the perfect guy. So if this is a way to start building towards that, I'm okay with that too. But I think Goldberg's stuck where he's stuck now, and I don't think he's going to be put out there against a big guy anymore. It's just not worth it.
Okay. Well, to your point, Goldberg, there could be various people he could face, believe it or not. If you have good workers like Dolph Ziggler, and remember, I changed my opinion about him completely since last year. He's one of the best heels they got. And this guy's had a good year. And name one big victory he's had this year. None. But yet he's been golden because he's doing a great job as a heel, and you don't always have to win. In the WWE territory, we all know that heels don't get the victories a lot. It's a face territory. It's always been that way for a long time. Even before Hogan, it was like that. But overall, I gotta say, someone in chat did come up with a good suggestion, okay? By the way, hi, Jordan. Renji said, I think it was, oh no, it's Adam Jones. Goldberg versus Drake Maverick. That's a good, you know what? That's WrestleMania written all over it, okay? But no, they get
Drake Maverick. God,
okay, now, I may be out of the loop here, but I'll give one suggestion, and I don't know if it did happen or not. What about Samoa Joe?
Well, they are going the face route with Samoa Joe now, though. So
it seems like it. But it could be, that could be just a, Triple H Rikishi type deal where he just acts like concerned, and it turned out to be not that way. He was involved the whole time. I'm just saying that I would see, because talk about
Joe would be right on that edge of big guy that Goldberg might be able to handle.
Goldberg's Samoa Joe's a good worker, great heel, great on the stick, get his point across. I can see him doing that. But overall, the one thing I was surprised about, and then we'll go on to number 7, is that people were complaining about Goldberg, how he dropped Undertaker on his head. It was a disaster match. We don't want him back. And the moment that music hit Monday night, people erupted. He got a pop. Why?
But I think that's because they know Goldberg can handle Ziggler, and fan-wise, nobody likes Ziggler.
No, I just think the fans are just bipolar.
So I think that played into the pop a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, you made a comment about Ziggler, about how he's had one of the best years of anybody despite all the losses. What better way to just have him keep losing against all these big names over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to Mania, he fights HBK, and he beats HBK with his version of the super kick. You would send Dolph Ziggler into the stratosphere if you play it out like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. You know, a lot of people are focused on where's Goldberg go from here after this. Goldberg's going to go right back into the retirement home and come out a couple times a year. Ziggler is the key where he goes from here. Even though he's going to get obliterated tonight, I'm really going to build Ziggler back up.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they actually make a match out of this. And Ziggler is that talented that he could be able to get a guy like Goldberg that's not comfortable doing a long match, may be able to carry him into a good, entertaining, great storytelling match.
A bunch of skill tactics to prolong this match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited for the match tonight at SummerSlam. You said you're pretty excited. All right. We can't wait to see what happens then. That was our number 8. Let's check to see what is the number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7, Kofi's response to, obviously, the going back and forth. I'll tell you one thing. This video package really made me interested in this match even more. And to me, my eyes, I think this was considerably the best build-up to all the SummerSlam matches this year. And look what they did to build it.
The title match.
Yeah.
The best title match tonight.
Yeah, and I think it will be. And this is 11 years in the making. Obviously, they used that angle where Kofi was held down, and he blames Randy Orton for that one mistake that happened, where he called him stupid, and that stopped his push. Here he is, being a champion now, and Randy Orton challenging him for the title. It's flip-flopped, and I'll tell you now, it was an incredible video package they played on SmackDown, talking about the history of them two, and the rise of Kofi Kingston, what he has overcame in the last 11 years, and getting that title at WrestleMania. And here he is at SummerSlam, second biggest show of the year. Probably better be main event, but I doubt it. But it might be second to the main event. I got to ask you, what did you think of the build and this final video package before on the Go Home show? No pun intended.
I don't want to necessarily give them a whole lot of credit for this build, only because this was the easiest of the builds. As soon as you started this feud, you're like, all right, bring up the, past street fight on Raw. I mean, that match, oh my God, that's got to be, for that time, that had to be match of the year, or at least in the top 3 that year. That match was absolutely one of the best matches I've ever seen.
I actually caught that on WWE Network. It was incredible.
This is just such an easy feud. It doesn't take away from how they built the feud, because there was little things added. Like, to me, the best part was not this promo, but when Orton first said, I didn't have to fake a Jamaican accent.
Nice thing.
I mean, the lines back and forth have been nothing short of just perfect, really. This is by far the title match that's probably hyped the most, will live up the most, and there's nothing really negative to say about this, I don't think. I tried to think of something that would bother me, and I do, one thing I will point out that I've kind of liked more than Kofi's recent feuds, it seems like with this feud, New Day's been less involved than his
Absolutely.
past. And I think that is you're helping building up Kofi even more along the way by doing that. But then you're also, putting that idea in the back of people's mind that eventually someone from New Day is going to turn on Kofi. Because, Kofi's standing out and doing everything on his own now. He don't need a New Day. There's going to be something to that eventually. We all know that's coming. When it happens, who knows? But, I'd almost be down. I really hadn't thought about the Kofi getting screwed over in a while. And when I started thinking about it again this week, I was like, man, could we see a triple threat at Mania, kind of like we did with the Shield back in the day for the title? I mean, that would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
It
would be a big push for Xavier Woods more than Big E.
To a lot of people probably, but I don't know. I'm really excited to see where Kofi goes from here, because I think they've done a great job building him up. I think this win that he's going to get over Orton tonight is just it's going to be a little bit more to legitimize him as opposed to the last couple feuds, because New Day was so heavily involved. If Kofi beats Orton tonight straight up, man, he just sky's the limit.
Well, you know what? And you were right about what you were saying about him straying away from New Day. It's because they want to make it like a legitimate champion and more of a sport feel. And if you got more of a sport feel, and then what's going to Fox in the fall?
Just
WWE.
my personal opinion, you cannot continue to be a legitimate world champion if you're coming out to the ring and throwing pancakes still, though.
Yeah.
You need to do that shit. You can still do your New Day chants, New Day rocks, all that stuff. But, man, enough with the fucking pancakes. Like, really?
Yeah, I think they did this to stray away from that. But, I mean, this is great. And you were saying, like, you can't credit them as much. Main reason because it's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. It was a simple storyline because there was real life, and realism brought in the storyline. Wrestling storylines makes everything better. That's why you really didn't need much from them, because it was already told. Now you're going to get this little, I guess you would say, redemption for Kofi. You may get a conclusion of the storyline between these two, and it took 11 years to get to this. We may finally see it tonight, or we might see something different where it might extend it into a program going into the fall. That remains to be seen. But I am excited for this match, as you stated too. I can't wait. And again, I wish it was main event, but it's probably not going to be because the Universal title kind of dominates that. All right, well, that was our number 7. Let's see what was the 6th best thing that happened in the WWE.
Number 6.
All right. Well, number 6 is Who's After Roman. Now, I know you're shaking your head, but you know what? There was a lot of good things that came out of this whole thing with Roman Reigns. I like it. And that's why I asked you on the list. Do you agree with this being on the list? You said, yeah, it's fine.
No. This is only on the list, and I agreed with it being on the list because this is so fucking retarded you have to talk about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I said it.
All right. Well, here's the thing. We're going to talk about the events that led up to this. Of course, you know what happened last week. Woody went for the interview in the backstage on SmackDown. He had scaffolding fall on him. Yeah, it was a little odd to watch, but it happened. And I see what they were trying to do. And then last week on this past Monday on Raw, he was getting out of his car, and lo and behold, someone tried to run him down. That was a little weird too, but I did like it. I see what they were trying to do. But one thing I've noticed is, despite all this, there has been sympathy. People are still on his side, and I think it's because of a couple of things. One, they're keeping him away from the title. I think right now what they're doing, if he's not going to be involved with the title, you got to have him in a storyline. I like what they're doing. The execution of the one thing they tried to do on SmackDown was bad for me. in my eyes, but overall, in the grand picture, I thought they're doing a good job with it. I'm sure you're going to destroy it in just a second, but we'll get into. Well, we'll go into what happened on SmackDown. Of course, he did an interview with Kayla, discussing the recent incidents that threatened his well-being. Reigns said that the events had been affecting his livelihood. Then he apologized to Samoa Joe for dragging his name through the mud, since it's now clear he had nothing to do with the attack, which I think that's bullshit. He vowed to get to the bottom of things by the end of the night. Later on that night, he confronted Buddy Murphy about his knowledge of who's doing all of this. When Murphy refused to tell him anything, Roman roughed him up in hopes to get hit a name. Of course, he said it was Rowan. Now, I don't know if a lot of people saw this. It was a little conspiracy video where you see a beard, in the picture, and a lot of people saying that
Roman thought that looked like Buddy Murphy. How do you fucking get Buddy Murphy confused with Rowan?
No. He confronted him because he said he knew.
No. He was there.
No, he said.
He made
he
made the exact comment that Buddy Murphy was there because he seen him on the video. So that would be alluding to that cryptic video that we all seen. Would it not?
All right. Yeah, fair enough.
Did you see Buddy Murphy in the other part of that whatsoever?
No, you saw what's his name with the hoodie.
That's what I'm saying. So the whole premise of him knowing that Buddy Murphy was there was based off what? The only thing we got is that video.
Yeah.
So did he? No, that's what I'm saying. It just it put a bad just thing out there. It made no sense. It just a random hey, we haven't done shit with Buddy Murphy for a couple months. Let's have Roman interrogate him and say he saw him there, even though we didn't show the fans any kind of video whatsoever that showed Buddy Murphy there.
You just like the premise, you just don't like the execution.
Well, it didn't make sense.
No, I'm talking about like what they're trying to do to get sympathy for him. Is what I'm talking about. Not with
fuck that shit.
You got to keep him.
Shit. You know what? This dumb motherfucker don't even know how to sell the angle from Raw, and the angle from Raw was much better. When he dove back in that car, he landed on his right shoulder, you could say, right?
Yeah.
When he emerged from the car, he was holding his left shoulder. That car didn't come anywhere near his left shoulder whatsoever. He didn't smack his left shoulder when he dove in that car. But when he got out of the car, he was holding his fucking left shoulder because he's a fucking retard.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. This shit is a fucking joke with him. This is only because of his family name that he is this pumped up and this fucking goddamn sympathy shit. You know what? The cancer thing might have been real. It might not have been. We'll never know. But, all the signs of why he was gone, films a movie, didn't lose any hair whatsoever, didn't lose, one thing you definitely lose, no matter what kind of fucking chemo you on, is usually body mass. You lose some of that muscle tone. This motherfucker came back more toned than before he left. That's just weird. It's not, like, totally impossible. It's just weird. And, you have the sympathy already. Everybody loves him because of coming back from cancer. You don't need to keep drawing sympathy from him. You know what you do need, which they hinted at with that car angle? You need to pair him up with somebody again, like The Shield. But instead of The Shield, this time it's going to be Samoa Joe. And you want to talk about a badass duo that can run around and fuck some motherfuckers up? This is it, right here. We've seen the sympathy shit before. We've seen him push to the moon already. Let's pair him up with another fucking monster and go around destroying people. That we haven't seen since the early days of the Shield. That's what I want to see. This whole soft-ass building shit where at the end of Raw or SmackDown, he's walking around and then somebody attacks him. This pussy-ass shit. And then, they eventually were going to have this fucking blow-off match with this storyline with Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, but they screwed the pooch so fucking much that, instead you're going to get a throwaway match tonight where Buddy Murphy will call him out. He'll go out there and destroy Buddy Murphy tonight, probably. Yeah, that's fucking great. And then we'll see fucking Roman and Bryan at the next pay-per-view. And,
right. Yeah, okay. I know. All right, overall, I get what you're saying with that. I agree. But at the end of the day, you got to keep them in the storyline. You just don't like how they did it. If they had a better story, you would be on board. If it was, but you know what? You really got me excited about that 2-man power trip. Now, I know they won't ever turn Roman heel, but if it was an opportunity, I would think this would be it.
No, I think if you pair him up with Samoa Joe, you can go with the tweener thing, like Becky Lynch when she first started out.
Yeah, that would work too. I agree with that. That would be good.
Well, and Roman's done some of that in the past when he said, I don't care if you cheer me, love me, I'm still going to come out here and whoop ass. You can still have him be a face that's cheered, but you just eventually just take your fucking foot off the sympathy stuff. He doesn't need it anymore. He's already got it. You're beating a dead horse. This is something new. And you know what? Can you imagine how, okay, here's your two choices. You can either have Roman versus Daniel Bryan down the line, or you can have a badass motherfucking duo of Roman and Joe against Bryan and Rowan down the line. I much more want to see that. That's just me.
All right. Well, overall, again, that is very intriguing. I would like to see them two paired up, but I don't know. I see more of them facing each other, like Tommaso Divide on YouTube said. I probably see that. And I do want to point out before we go on with number 5, Get 'em Jones said, all this started after Rikishi came back. He's just saying. And you know what? I think he makes a valid point about that.
No, maybe the blow off for this, now that they realize their timing was way off, and they're just going to essentially kind of scrap most of this and start over after SummerSlam. What if eventually if you can possibly milk it all the way to Survivor Series?
It can be done. It can be done.
Then you have a Samoan team versus Brian Rowan, maybe a returning Luke Harper, a couple other guys.
Ooh.
I mean, it sets up.
The congregation.
You have the awkward Roman cousin or whatever he had that one match on Raw a while back, so you can mix.
Yep.
And then naturally the Usos, so you'd have the Usos, Roman, Joe, and then have that new guy. That could be your Samoa team, and then you can have guys like Harper, Rowan, and Bryan.
All followers of Bryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Be a good payoff too, and then you could have Roman and Bryan be the last two guys of that match, and then you could possibly even milk another confrontation at the Rumble during the Rumble match, and then eventually, finally, get that one-on-one match at Mania. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but they have all the pieces. This is like when you have all your pieces to the puzzle. They just got to figure out how to put this together, and it could be good. But they need to steer away from this sympathy thing, at least for a little while, because...
And go with the more the badass route.
If you stay with sympathy all the way through to Mania, you're going to have a problem on your hands at Mania.
Yeah. All right. And then it'd be another version of the Force Fed. I get what you're saying. Clearly, they're building Cedric Alexander as an honorary Samoan. I don't know.
Did with him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, but overall...
Cedric could be that 5th guy at Survivor Series.
There you go. Well, I would like to see that. I like that little, like you said, the congregation with the Samoans. It would be something different, unique, fresh. I would be interested in that. Well, we'll see what happens, and we'll see if we see a pairing of Samoa Joe and Roman, or we might see Joe was involved after all and was in the ears of Rowan. All right, let's go to what we thought was the 5th best thing that happened in the world of the WWE this week.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Zayn. Sami Zayn going up against Aleister Black. I'll tell you, really good match. But, of course, it started off with Sami Zayn hitting the ring to denounce Aleister Black's silence in regard to his challenge, because he did challenge him, only to have the former NXT champion reveal the bout will not take place at SummerSlam. Rather, it would take place right there and then.
The way he did that was amazing, too.
Yep.
How seen him on the mic.
Yep.
But, they did such a close-up with the camera that
It was a little too.
At first, he was laying already out there.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the way they kind of drawn out the Black, backstage stuff a little too long, in my opinion, this build with Black, man, I love it. Like, this is probably one of the best things going on SmackDown right now.
Yep. Of course, in the match, Black rode his striking ability to an early advantage, but Zayn seized control of the match. The underdog from the underworld worked over his opponent, but another flurry of strikes allowed the Dutch Destroyer get back into the competition. With the heel being stunned, Black delivered the jaw, jacking Black Mass to score the pinfall. I'll tell you, it was a very entertaining match. I did like that whole Sami Zayn doing what he does best, cutting a good promo. I would honestly say in the WWE right now, easily, you could disagree, and people listening to this could disagree with me. Top 5 on the mic right now, as far as the heel. That guy can really get people going, and he uses a lot of the real-life complaints from the fans, whether it's social media, on the website, anywhere, YouTube. He takes that all in and throws it back in her face with logic coming from his side, the guy that's doing it day in and day out. And again, pumping up Aleister Black getting the victory. Obviously, we're seeing that he's going to be the face, where people were wondering what he was going to be. Now we established that he's going to be face, and I'm happy with that. Overall, great match, great build. Honestly, the only thing I'm upset about is that it wasn't on SummerSlam. But that's me. What'd you think?
I don't think he's going to be like your bubbly face. I think he's that tweener face that we all kind of wish Roman was, is what he's going to end up being. Sami Zayn, now that Miz is a face, is the new version of Miz, pretty much. He's that heel everybody hates. He's that heel everybody wants to beat up. He's perfect for that role now that they got Miz doing all the face stuff. I got some early, I've been really loving Black stuff so much to the point where you give him 1 or 2 good feuds, a good showing at Survivor Series, and I'm telling you right now, I would not be surprised if Black wins the Rumble.
That would be awesome.
It's too early to put him in the title picture right now, but you get him a couple more solid wins than Sami Zayn. Maybe he beats a guy like Orton down the line, or another like Daniel Bryan even. And then you have him a good showing at Survivor Series, and the next thing you know, I think if you were to ask a lot of people right now, you're within your top 5 picks for the Rumble. A lot of people are going with Bray Wyatt and Black right now as like guys that they're leaning towards winning, and I think that would be absolutely amazing. Like, you could slightly turn Black if Kofi's still the champion, but not like fully turn him into a heel, but just enough of a heel that you somewhat enjoy him fucking with Kofi. Or you keep him a face if Orton or somebody else eventually gets that title. I mean, Aleister Black and Kofi match, or Aleister versus Orton match, oh my God, would be just sanity.
Yep.
Either way. And I think Black's that type of dude that can play the character no matter who he faces.
Yeah.
So the sky's the limit for Black. And thank God they got him away due to injuries and other stuff with other people from that weird NXT call-up tag team stuff they were doing with him.
Yeah.
They almost pooch. They almost fucked Black up from the jump, and man. I think he's on track now, though.
One thing I got to say, and maybe you may agree or disagree with this, Aleister Black I agree with you. He should only be in the world title picture, and I'll explain why. A character like that is very similar to The Undertaker. Why didn't The Undertaker never win the U.S. title? Why hasn't The Undertaker ever won Intercontinental title? Because a character like Aleister Black, which is very similar to the Undertaker, they don't need that type of title. They don't need those titles. They're an attraction, and he's going to be used as that, as an attraction. But once in a while, you're going to see him in that title picture. And if the only title he should have, it should be the world title. And I'm with you on that. I think he is a front runner coming up in this upcoming Royal Rumble. Whether they go with it or not, if it's not going to be this year, we may see it next year. And they're building them the right way. And thank God, due to injuries, that NXT call-up thing that happened a few months ago went to shit. And they repackaged him. Well, not repackaged him, but they reintroduced him into this role he's doing right now. And he's knocking out of the park.
Back to his NXT persona, right? Pretty much?
Pretty much, yeah.
It was awkward when he came up and was doing all the tag team shit.
Yeah, it wasn't him.
It didn't work for me.
No. All right, well, it was a great match, and I can't wait to see what they do from there. Maybe we might see a match between them two going into the upcoming pay-per-views, but they did a great job this past week on SmackDown. Now, that was number 5. Who did better than them at number 4?
Number 4.
Number 4. Well, the main event of SmackDown, New Day, going up against Daniel Bryan and Rowan in an incredible tag team match. I'm just saying that because, well, I'm a fan of tag team wrestling. As some people listening are a fan of tag team wrestling. But they did not disappoint yet again. You had 3 great workers and Rowan. The 2 tag teams main evented SmackDown this week with an incredible match, like I said. An intense Bryan jumped Woods from the opening bell and proceeded to isolate him, working with Rowan to keep Woods from tagging his partner into the bout. Big E did finally receive the hot tag and exploded into the match. He unloaded on Rowan, but found his previously injured knee a target for Bryan, which I love when they use that. Using his superhuman strength, the New Day man powered out of the lapel lock, and powered by the former WWE Champion for a 2. Attacked Rowan, halted the babyface comeback, but Woods was still able to deliver a massive elbow from the top rope for a near fall. Big E, throwing caution to the wind, speared Bryan through the ropes, which was also incredible, onto the floor. Sensing the end was near and not in their favor, Rowan used the ring steps to flatten New Day and draw the disqualification. Of course, it went into that segment where Roman was talking with Buddy Murphy. They saw that. That was the end of it, but we already discussed that. What did you think of the main event on SmackDown?
This was the first of 2 matches that are basically on this list just because of the match and nothing to do with a deep storyline. Yeah, Bryan
didn't need
history with Day, but this really wasn't anything to prolong a storyline or nothing. This was just, like you said, a solid tag team wrestling match. It was a pleasure to see, but being that there's no storyline associated with it, really, this was just, you could appreciate it for what it is on its own, just a solid match. And there's not a lot to say about it, just simply that it was a great match and a pleasure to see.
Yep. And that's all you get asked with the tag team division with WWE is a little bit more of a focus. And I like the step of them putting them in the main event of a TV show. I think the ultimate, and I hope they do it sometime, and they've done it in AEW. They have done it at MLW. They have done it in Ring of Honor, and they've done it at Impact, where a tag team closes out a show. I would love, and I mean a pay-per-view. I would love to see that one time. Talk about the women's revolution. I'm talking about the tag team revolution. Evolution. Bring it back. Bring back and make it prominent again. And steps like this. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Bryan being in a tag team, but knowing the message of what they could do with that and build a faction, like you said, going up against the Samoans or something like that, that got me like, I hope they go that route. That's a great idea, and I wish they do go with that.
The only thing that's been disappointing as far as tag team division lately is that they've done a great job of finally building it up again. Like, you're excited to see tag team matches again.
Yep.
But here we are again, a major pay-per-view tonight, and there's no tag team title match as of yet.
Yeah, this is what
that's a problem. Like, you've
done
a fairly decent job of building this up the last few months, and then your payoff is, well, we might do a throwaway kickoff match with Ryder and Hawkins versus whoever or some bullshit like that. Like, fuck off. Like, just, if you're gonna start respecting them and building them up on these regular TV shows, do it on the pay-per-views too, please. That's all I ask. Even if it's the kickoff match, you can still build up a feud for a kickoff match. But when you throw the kickoff match on there at the last second, oh, by the way, we're going to have a tag team title match tonight, then it has no meaning to it. But you can build up the match, and then when they announce the card and you find out that, let's say they spent a month building up the Usos versus Revival, for example, and then you get to the pay-per-view and they throw it on the kickoff, you're still okay with it because you've been building towards the excitement of this match. But when you just throw up a random tag team match out of nowhere on a pay-per-view, it devalues it to the point where starting tomorrow night on Monday, you got to rebuild the division back up again because you shoot it down every fucking pay-per-view.
The final point that goes that agrees with what you just said was that yes, they do things on social media and other like YouTube and all that people may not follow. You might want to do this on television because not everyone's going to follow those things and realize, okay, why is there a tag match? There was no build to this. How did this happen? Not realizing there was things that were put out on social media and things that were put out on YouTube that built to that they didn't see. All of a sudden, boom, you see a tag match and you don't know why. That's one thing I can see. It's good that they do it that way as far as like they can prolong it, but it should be built on the TV show and prolonged on social media and YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. There's no hint right now, but would you be at all surprised if they throw a New Day versus Bryan and Rowan tag title match on the card tonight at the last
I would love to see that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
And it would make sense. But the problem is when you don't bring it up on your last show before the pay-per-view, you automatically, if you're graded on a scale of 1 to 5, you're already 4's your limit now since you didn't make the match before the card. 4's your limit. That's best case scenario. And then, if things don't go right, it could be even more than that, and just devalues the division. And it's not fair to these guys that put these really solid efforts out on these tag teams, like New Day, even Bryan. And now what he's done with the tag team division, just by having a solid name like him, nobody fucking talks about Eric Rowan. He's just a throwaway guy to pair him up with. But just having a guy the caliber of Bryan be in your tag team division and your rock solid performers like the Usos and New Day. Well, Usos if they're not getting arrested.
Yeah, all right.
But, these guys have been doing a great job building the division, man. Don't fucking screw them over by throwing away just random matches on pay-per-views. Even though this match right here, if they do a rematch here with these two teams tonight, it'll be a great match. It will.
Yeah.
You got to give these guys more of a presence, so to speak.
All right. Well, let's see if they do. And like you said, they'll probably do it. And, wouldn't be a greatest build. But if not, they did put an incredible match on TV, the end SmackDown, and it was good to see. Before we go into number 3, I do want to say Big Daddy Matt, he's watching us on Twitch right now. Thank you for the host, but also thank you for the bits that you donated. Thank you so much. We will put that out and spread the wealth to other content creators on Twitch. Thank you so much for the donation. All right, so now that we're done with number 4, well, we talked about one tag team match that happened this week. Well, there's another one that made number 3.
Number 3.
And that is your new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Alexa Bliss and Cross. I'm sorry, Nikki Cross. I'm sorry. I had a noise in the background that distracted me. Match that I felt should have happened again. Tag team matches not being on the main show, which should have happened on SummerSlam because the quality of the match was great. But it also was on Raw. Fatal 4-way elimination for the women's tag team titles. Of course, Mandy Rose was eliminated by the Iconics with a bicycle kick to Billie Kay. Asuka then made Rose tap out for the second elimination. And finally, Alexa Bliss caught Kairi Sane with a twist of Bliss to take the win and capture the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, It was great because we've discussed this pairing with Cross and Bliss, and we like what they're doing and how you somehow saw Bliss showing both sides of her heel and face, but we know who she truly is, and we liked that they got Cross involved with something, and here they are a couple months later, and they're tag champions. Your thoughts on the match and thoughts on this, of them being tag champs?
This shit between these two women has been nothing short of flawless.
I know.
From the jump, like you said, Bliss flip-flopping her character a bunch, to the point now with their established heels that you cheer for every time they come out. Like, even though they portray heels, you want them to succeed. And they're probably the top heels, at least as far as tag teams, men or women, that get cheered the most. Because, I mean, that pop they got when they won was a little surprising. I didn't think that many other people were behind them as much as like we were. You know, just loving this pairing from the jump. And they gel. They gel. And this is almost in a weird way like Daniel Bryan and Rowan, where we haven't seen a lot from Nikki yet. We want to see Nikki succeed, but she's not there yet. But then you throw in the established name of Alexa Bliss into this, like you kind of had originally with Bayley and Sasha when they had the titles, and this will help elevate the titles. Now, hopefully, these two get a proper reign that, you know, Bayley and Sasha never did, obviously. But
I think they will.
If they get a nice, at least month or two reign with these titles, this is going to be pretty damn good for them women's tag titles. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I am too. And the thing is, as far as Alexa Bliss, we know what happened. She's been dealing with a little, health issues and all. And I know her being in the title picture as far as the women's title on Raw, SmackDown's out of the question at the moment. They're going to try to rebuild Bayley, which I think they've done a fairly decent job with. And, of course, they're not going to take the belt off of Becky. I still don't think she's going to lose this week. I will be surprised if it's...
not going to lose the belt until maybe Ronda comes back.
Yeah, and I don't know. A lot of people speculating that she might pop up tonight.
Yeah, there's rumors that she might be there tonight.
Yeah. Well, of course, we'll see it. But overall, I'm glad they're doing what they did and gave them the titles because I like what they're doing. You said it perfectly. Everything they've done has been flawless. And yes, I hope they get a good, healthy, long reign. And the fact there's Raw talent, you might get a better reign out of them as opposed to Iconics that were originally SmackDown. So that I'm just saying. But overall, it was a great match, a great women's match, and a great tag match. All right. We just talked about two tag titles on the line this week. Who made number 2?
Number 2.
Oh, that's right. Owens and Shane McMahon. Of course, a segment where the Kevin Owens show. Of course, he wasted no time in demanding Shane McMahon joining him in the ring for that show. He admitted that since he agreed to put his career on the line against Shane, fans have asked why McMahon's career isn't also at stake. Shane blamed Owens' ego for being in the position he is in now. He declined the challenge. Owens claimed McMahon had no balls, to which former SmackDown commissioner said he had balls and brains. Lies at the ring, but Owens did a solid job fending off both of them, including the stunner to the musician on the announce table. Seizing the opportunity, McMahon tripped Owens up, dropping him back and head first on the table, and he proceeded to turn the table over KO, leaving KO pinned with nowhere to go. McMahon got up with a few cheap shots before trapping him head first in his steel chair. A quick basement dropkick concluded the beatdown, and some last minute trash talk. Now, I said this to you. We talked privately, like, before the show, this a couple days ago. I said I enjoyed this segment because the whole time going up to this match, who was getting over on every segment? Kevin Owens. This time, you finally got McMahon getting the heat and getting over on KO. And I enjoyed the segment because, again, it wasn't so much of a sympathy. Now it was like, okay, you could see what he could do. Yeah, he may need help. and that could always happen at SummerSlam. And now, because of this, and you see what happened here, now there's like that, like, oh, we're going to see KO after tonight. I did like what they did with that. How did you feel about that segment? And real quick, how did you feel about the build of this match?
You know, I'm really happy with all this because, you know, let me just throw on a little side thing right quick. There's obviously going to be something after this tonight with Shane career, maybe not, or change of stipulate. There's something else that's going to be added to this match tonight. But I'm a lazy person. We all know that. I ain't going to go back in streams from 3, 4, 5 months ago, whatever it was, when we were doing this on a regular basis. But when Kevin Owens first returned, and he returned as a face, and I was telling everybody that could listen how happy I was. It makes perfect sense. And I was shitted on. Every motherfucker.
Oh, he's just a natural heel. He's the best heel in the company right now. Blah, 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 blah.
Look at me now, bitches. I just want to, throw that out there.
Okay.
This motherfucker is like Kobe Bryant was to the closest thing to Michael Jordan. This is the closest you are ever getting to Stone Cold. So much to the point that he's even using the fucking stunner. And quite frankly, the way Owens does the stunner, I kind of like it more than Stone Cold stunner. Call me crazy, but it just seems more a combination of awkward but beautiful at the same time. This feud is the perfect feud. You could look at this, and if you fucking just like crunch your eyes and you glance real quick, you could picture Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold right here. This is McMahon versus the Stone Cold character, essentially all over again. And whether this feud ends tonight, which I definitely do not see that happening for a goddamn second, because even if Owens loses tonight, he's going to come back and continue to beat up Shane McMahon. We all know that. So I don't think this feud is going to go anywhere anytime soon. Maybe it gets drawn out to Survivor Series where they both lead a team and then the losing team is leaving SmackDown or some shit like that if nothing happens with McMahon's career tonight-wise. But this feud is what we wished Miz and Shane would have been more like, because this is even better. Because
absolutely,
when Miz was doing it with Shane, it didn't feel organic. It just didn't feel right because we were still trying to get used to Miz being a face. But with Owens, he's done everything so above and beyond perfect that you get invested in this from the jump. And I can't wait to see where this shit goes from here. Quite frankly, storyline-wise, this is my top storyline in the company right now is Kevin Owens, and it's not even close.
All right. Well, I kind of like the world title picture more, but I do like this. This is close second to me. But going on what you said with the modern McMahon Austin era, well, what if he was to lose tonight at SummerSlam and I just say he pulls the thing that Stone Cold did where he put the gun up the McMahon's head, hit the bang 316? What if they were to do that to get him really over with the fans? And they talk about they want to be a little edgier, not necessarily with the gun because of what happened last week with the mass shootings. That would not be in good taste, but something along the lines of where he's really threatening McMahon. What's that?
I do have a theory. You don't necessarily have to do it on SmackDown after SummerSlam. You can hold out until Fox. You can hold out to the Fox debut. Eric Bischoff comes out and rehires Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be a little too long.
Rumor has it that while Eric and Paul aren't going to be on-air characters per se, I wouldn't necessarily mind seeing Bischoff on my TV a couple, 2-3 times a year kind of thing. Just come out there for something big a couple times a year. That wouldn't at all surprise you if, even if he don't appear on TV, if Kevin's just comes out by himself and just said, oh, Bischoff hired me, or I was rehired, and then Shane's trying to figure out who undercut him, and then you could create something future with that where Shane thinks he still has power but doesn't because this other random person does, even though we all know who the random is. There's a lot you could do with this. I'm excited, man. I can't. This storyline, you can milk this motherfucker forever. Like, this is Austin and McMahon all over again.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with that, and
their
I'm excited for
chemistry
tonight.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. I do see that, and Shane's always had that kind of chemistry. It is weird. I'm surprised he didn't become like a full time guy, because it does seem like he's odd with his. But you know what? The greatest wrestlers. I mean, the greatest characters weren't the greatest wrestlers. I'm gonna throw one out there. A lot of people are Hulk Hogan.
That matched up well with the stuff with Miz. For whatever reason, it just didn't click.
Because
he a little bit of something with Big Show short term, that was okay, but really his two chemistry guys were Kurt Angle first and now Kevin Owens.
Yeah, well,
he just gels with them two guys. Like it just works.
All right. Well, I mean, I agree with you, and I can't wait to see where they go with this. Going to your point, making it the first episode on Fox. I don't know. It would be believable if he was fired and then all of a sudden a week later he's back, like the time where he quit and then the next show he was back. It's not believable. I could go with that, with them going to Fox and then they bring him back, but that's 2 months away. I don't know if you want to kill that kind of momentum, if you want a guy to be that uber babyface.
Well, what if over those 2 months though you keep him as fired? But he shows up randomly to attack people.
Or if you're going on with your social media.
So he don't have an actual match or rehired until Fox.
Okay. I could go with that.
Be a television presence.
Oh yeah, do social media, do the YouTube, and like you said,
anything that Shane, Drew, or Elias gets involved in, Kevin Owens just comes out of the crowd and fucks it up, and then goes back to the crowd and. Maybe they can do a arrest angle, which, they love doing their arrest angles, so that wouldn't surprise me. So you could keep him technically fired until Fox. You could. And then what a guy to essentially build between him and Kofi as your leaders of SmackDown on Fox. I am down with it.
All right. Well, only thing I want to know is, are we going to see Kevin Owens next week? We'll find out tonight at SummerSlam. And that was our number 2. D-Shep loved the storyline angle. I love this storyline as well. But there was one thing that was better than this, and this is number 1.
This was a hard one to top, too. You could. I didn't think you were going to be able to top Kevin Owens. I really didn't, but...
Mysterio and Amos did. Andrade and Mysterio went one-on-one on Monday Night Raw this past week. Andrade brutalized Rey Mysterio early in the match, but the master of the 619 refused to stay down. He fought back through injuries, much to Zelina Vega's frustration. Once again, El Idolo, I always get that wrong, went after Mysterio's mask, which distracted the referee. This allowed Vega to bounce the WWE legend off the ropes to set up the Hammerlock DDT for the win. Great heel victory. Even though it's number 1, it was a great match. To me, the false finishes. Man, the last time I saw people or heard people react to these false finishes is when Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan at Elimination Chamber. It was that level, that deafening sound. Like you heard it through the TV. I watch other shows, and you didn't hear those kind of reactions. They were into it. And man, for guys that faced each other a handful of times, it gets better and better and not as boring. It doesn't get boring. That's how I feel about it. What did you feel about the match?
Last year, I got extremely bored with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. We beat that dead horse so many goddamn times. I was so fucking sick of it. But this right here, like you said, I was in awe. This was the best wrestling match I've seen on Raw all year. I don't think it's even close.
Yep.
And to your point about the crowd being into it, I'm telling you what, man, since Rey Mysterio returned, these were the reactions they were hoping for when he returned. This was the best version of Rey Mysterio. And to the point, I would compare Mysterio a little bit to Goldberg at this point. Not saying that Mysterio can't hang with the big guys, but it just seems like when he's fighting these guys like Samoa Joe or Drew McIntyre and stuff like that, that's when he tends to get hurt now. If he sticks with guys like AJ Styles, Almas, a few other guys that medium size, this is how you see the best version of Mysterio. Just like tonight, when Goldberg goes up against Ziggler, you're going to see the best version of Goldberg tonight. And as long as you keep Ray in these kind of feuds, and you got top smaller guys as your champions right now, well, not with Brock, but when Seth Rollins had it, and obviously with Kofi having it, you could still eventually get Mysterio in the title picture if you keep him up against guys like this. But if you keep throwing him in there with guys like, I don't know, let's say Lars Sullivan when he comes back.
Oh, God.
It's a feud that you probably would see because people, for some reason, love throwing Ray in there against the big guys.
It's a David versus Goliath. Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, but the problem is Ray usually gets hurt when that happens.
That is true. This
is the best wrestling match I've seen from Rey Mysterio probably close to 5 years. This match was and not to take anything away from Omnis, because he's been building his own legacy of late. I don't think the dude's ever had a bad match that I can recall.
Nope. Great worker.
This, it's really hard for me these days with the wrestling product being so much more about storylines and wrestling matches to have a wrestling match at number one. Because if this was any other week, like I said, Owens Above and Beyond would be the number one thing. But this match was so above and beyond. Even you knew it was going to be good, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to be that good.
For people to react the way they did,
Vega is, you know what? I'd have to say Vega is probably the top heel manager on the outside besides Paul Heyman in the company right now.
No, I can agree with that.
She's just phenomenal too, and a talented wrestler in her own right. I look forward to seeing this match another dozen times because I don't think you can really find anything to really complain about here.
No, and every time they do something new, like one thing they didn't do this time, they didn't do the Destroyer, the Canadian Destroyer. You didn't see that at all in the match, but they focused on the mask. That was a great thing they did because it played off from the week before. But, dude, it was an incredible match. My opinion, I'm with you. It was the match of the year so far for Raw. Nothing has topped that as far as even in announcers. Like, you even got life out of fucking Michael Cole, which is hard to do because he's, like, very robotic. And I know why, because of how they have the announcers, do what they do now compared to 20 years ago. But I mean, everyone was into it. There was a huge level of excitement, and overall, at the end, even though it almost got the victory, it was still an incredible match, and people were into it, and they were all good with it.
And in my opinion, the right guy got the win too.
Yeah, he did, because it was a veteran giving the new talent, the younger talent, the rub. He did give him the rub right there. The series of matches is really getting him over as a good heel, along with Zelina Vega. And kudos to Mysterio for doing that.
We were talking about Royal Rumble contenders with like Bray Wyatt and Black earlier. I don't think Omnis is quite there yet. But you know what Omnis could get this year that I wouldn't be at all surprised? The winner of the Andre the Giant match Mania.
That would be good for him. It would be a good step.
I think he would be the perfect guy for that. And then the following Rumble in 2021, he can maybe win his first Rumble.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, he's doing a good job. They're doing a great job building him. And congratulations to Almas and Rey Mysterio at being number one this week. That was our list. What is yours? Hit us up at Go Home Wrestling on Twitter and let us know your top 10 events and matches that happen on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. Now, we're done with the list. Let's go on with a new list, and that is our WWE and NXT Power Rankings of the week. All right, I'll start it off this time. Number 5, I'm going to go with Shane Thorne with the big victory over Wild. It was, like I said, it was the only match on NXT, but it was a really good, entertaining match. Great ending. That brutal running knee to the face gets the victory over Wild. That is my number 5. Number 4, I'm going with Aleister Black. Aleister Black getting that great victory over Sami Zayn this past week on SmackDown. Therefore, he lands my number 4 spot. Number 3, you may disagree with me, but I do like what they're doing with Roman Reigns. Keeping him in a good story. Execution could be better, but overall, I know the premise. I agree with the premise, and I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. That's my number 3. Number 2, Andrade with the match of the year for Raw. The match of the week. Great matches time after time with Rey Mysterio. That's my number 2. And my number 1 this week is the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And that who's on my list this week. D-Shep, hit us with your top 5.
My list isn't really too much different from yours. A little bit, with the order and whatnot, and a couple different people. But Andrade, just simply because, he'd probably be a little further up the list for me if it just wasn't for the simple fact that this is like the main standout thing I've seen in the last month. Like, if I keep seeing standout things, then he'll just keep going up and up. But I just haven't seen a lot of standout themes lately. He's just been that solid guy lately. I just want a little more. I can't get enough of it. Bliss and Cross probably would be further on my list too if it wasn't for the fact that I need to see them picking up wins. Before this match, they weren't really winning. So I think they had the potential to be up there every week, but this is the start of that. Number 3, Brock Lesnar. My God, the 180 I've done on Brock Lesnar these last few months, I cannot properly explain that in the time of this show. So there's just no way. He's been nothing short of phenomenal to me lately. And this is where we mainly disagree, because you brought up Roman Reigns. I got to go with Samoa Joe. And the only reason I'm going with Joe is, to me, he's been the standout guy of this storyline of Roman Reigns, the Attack, Daniel Bryan, Rowan, whatever you want to talk about. The most impactful, solid performance of this storyline, in my opinion, has been Samoa Joe. Everything from hopping up on the announcer table, the promos, the reaction after the car crash, nothing short of phenomenal. And at number 1, I'm going Kevin Owens. This is where I go a little bit back to more the storyline being my top concern as far as, not as close to a wrestling match, but Kevin Owens is the guy right now, and to me, he's number 1.
All right. Well, like I said, we don't have to agree on everything. I do like your list, too. And again, for anyone that has their list, if you're listening right now, hit us up at Go Home Wrestling on Twitter, as well as DShep1979. Tag him in it and give us your top 5 WWE Superstars of the Week. We have our list. We want to hear yours. All right. Before we end the show, let's do a quick round. We're going to do our predictions for SummerSlam. I'm just going to announce the match. You give me a winner, okay? And hold on, let me bring it up because it's not showing up on the thing I emailed. So I'm just going to give me a winner. We'll go down the list. Here we go. Drew Gulak, Lorcan. Who do you got for the Cruiserweight title?
Gulak, because I don't know anything about the other guy.
Lorcan, he was part of the tag team that was competing against Undisputed Era last year. All right, never mind. Trish Stratus, Charlotte Flair.
Oh, I didn't have that one on my list. I forgot that one. Charlotte all day. She needs this win over a top legend like that. I don't see any reason why Trish Stratus should win this match.
I'm with you on that. Flair getting the rub from Trish Stratus, which was considerably one of the best women champions during that time. Great. It would be good for her to get the rub. So I go with Charlotte. I agree with you on that. Goldberg and Dolph Ziggler. Who do you got?
Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
No.
Goldberg. I'm with you on that. Ricochet putting his title against AJ Styles going up against Ricochet for the U.S. title. Who do you have?
Styles, because he's red hot right now. Ricochet, they've done a good job of building them up as of late to the point where I can survive with Styles winning this match. Had Ricochet been losing of late, I would have said Ricochet needs this win more, but Styles has just been too red hot not to win.
All right, next one, Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt. Oh, by the way, I got Styles as well.
It better be fucking Bray Wyatt.
All right, I got Bray as well. If you're going to build a character like that, you can't have him losing this first match.
No.
All right, Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon.
I've gone back and forth on this. I did write down Owens, but in a weird way, I think to have a more long-term storyline with this, I'd go with Shane with the win, simply because the untapped potential you could do with a fired Kevin Owens, I think would be must-see TV, so I'd rather see that.
I'm actually going to go with Shane with you. I'm with you on that as far as standpoint, because you know he's not going to go. Where's he going to go, to AEW? Next one, Barely Ember Moon. Who you got?
Oh, God. I don't like Ember Moon, but she needs this win. She really does. I see a return to Sasha Banks tonight, screwing over Bayley and Moon winning the title.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see if they go with that. And you know what? Ember Moon is deserving of it. She is a great worker. I like what she does. It would be a good thing for her. A big boost in her character and everything for her to win that title.
I like the pairing of how we kind of have Nikki Cross and Alexa of a potential Sasha and Ember Moon pairing. I think that would be kind of lit.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Barely, actually. I think she's going to retain. The last women's title match on the line is Becky Lynch and Natalya. Man, think about this. Women's Evolution. You got 3 big marquee matches for the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Who you got, Lynch or Natalya?
I do want to hint at that before I say my winner real quick. All these motherfuckers the last couple of weeks bitching and moaning about Revolution again on Twitter and shit like that, give women a chance. My God, what more do you fucking want? Like, you had a long multi-women tag team match on Raw. You had phenomenal promos from all the women involved with title matches. The Trish and Charlotte promos are kind of cringe, but they've been getting their time. I don't know what more you fucking want with the women. Like, they're out there. They're top superstars. They're not divas no more. Like, can we stop with the women's revolution hashtag shit? Like, they're there.
Yep.
But beyond that, I don't see any reason why Becky loses here tonight, because I do think that Ronda has to be the person that is the most legitimate to take it down the line. I just don't see Natty winning, especially since it's in their hometown. We all know the hometown will never win. Which also plays into Trish losing tonight, too.
Yeah, I got Lynch. Finally, Lesnar, Rollins. Who you got?
We have to go with Brock. I want Rollins to win as far as who I'm more of a fan of, but I've been loving everything Brock been doing so much that I got to go with Brock.
All right. Well, I got Brock as well, because I think it would be better for the WWE if he's still champion going into SmackDown, going on the Fox. All right. Well, that is the show, ladies and gentlemen.
We missed 2 matches.
What's that? Who did we miss?
You missed 2 matches.
What did I miss?
You didn't do Kofi or Orton.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kofi and Orton. Who you got?
Kofi.
Oh, I got Kofi as well. Who else did we forget?
And then one other match, and this is a match I'm shocked you forgot. Ali versus Shinsuke for the IC title.
Oh, okay. I got Shinsuke. Who you got?
I got Ali. I think it's time to put a belt on him. I really do. I got that gut feeling tonight.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm sorry. I did overlook them. I have them on the table here, and I overlooked them. I'm sorry. All right. Well, there you go. That's our predictions, and we'll put them out later on today on our show page.
And I'm also
Go Home
going
Wrestling.
to say Roman Reigns is going to beat up Buddy Murphy tonight in a quick squash match.
Oh, God.
That's
Please
their
don't do
control.
that.
That'll be something random in the middle where Buddy Murphy will be coming out and he'll call out Roman, and Roman come out there and just whoop his ass real quick.
All right. Well, we reached to that point at the end of the show. Thank you for everyone that tuned in on our on YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. For people that are listening on podcast, if you want to catch us live, it's every now Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us live when we record the podcast on there. For people that are watching right now and you can't catch us, you can listen to the podcast, which we'll have it released tonight on iTunes, Spotify, Anchor FM, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Start your Monday morning off listening to the top 10 things that we thought were great for WWE that last week. And on Twitter, you can follow the show. I'm at Go Home Wrestling. He's at DShep1979. And we are out of here. Later, everybody.
Later.